Oh, the sights, the sounds, the smells, the crowds, they're all getting bigger and bigger here. It is Indy Sports Show Live in the Travel Cafe in the Champions Pavilion, the 65th annual Ford Boat Sport and Travel Show. Having such a great afternoon, much more to come. Check out the program where all of the opportunities that we're going to be bringing to you are on the online program. The whole point of Indy Sports Show Live is to bring you a little bit more depth than perhaps just going to one of the pros talks or a session where you might pick up a tip or two. And we have been so fortunate to have some legends with us today. Mr. Crappie certainly is one of those legends. I don't know many people who have been in the outdoor world who are as successful, and certainly nobody in the world of crappie fishing. Wally Marshall, it's great to have you be a part of the program.
I'll tell you what, you know, I've come a long way up here up north. You know, I'm from Texas, you know, but I get around. I've fished some Indiana lakes. I've fished Monroe, and I've fished some other places, you know.
Well, you put 90,000 miles a year on your truck.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of that's pulling a boat, too. So, you know, we get out there.
So there are, part of what we've been talking about is the outreach of social media.
Right. That's
you know,
right.
You've got a great Facebook presence, but no real Instagram, no Twitter. How have you been so successful?
Man, I'll tell you what, in that truck,
yeah,
you know, covering the miles, going, seeing people, visiting, going to shows, coming up here. I mean, you know, it's just, I'm telling you, I meet a lot of folks on the road. That truck gets about 120 eye contacts a mile. And it's understandable. It says Mr. Crappie. You can't miss it.
So you've been around as a legend, a true legend in fishing. How did the whole Mr. Crappie thing get started?
Well, you know, in 1987, I started fishing crappie tournaments and knew nothing about it. I didn't even own a boat. I had a pair of waders and a fly rod and won the first tournament I ever fished.
With a fly rod?
With a fly rod, but we use it like a crappie pole. You know, we take that fly rod and we'd stick it up in the bushes, and the crappie would hit the lure, and you just set the hook, brother.
So where did Mr. Crappie come from that humble beginning?
Well, after winning about 7 or 8 tournaments in about 2 or 3 years, I got opportunities to do seminars like I do here at this show, at the Indy Show. And so I was doing seminars, and they outdoor writers. I did magazine articles, newspaper articles. They called me everything from the crappie king to the guru to the. And so I just went to thinking in my mind. I go, man, there's got to be something out there that I could do for products like Mr. Twister, Mr. Catfish. Hey, why not Mr. Crappie?
And the rest is history.
So I went to the local library, had a lady check it out for me, and man, what you talking about? They said, it's open. I said, I'm getting it. So I went to the local attorney, trademark guy, trademark Mr. Crappie.
And truly, I've heard it said by many people that you are truly one of the best fishermen alive.
Well,
do you believe that?
At one time, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has his day. Oh, I can still win a tournament tomorrow. You know, Ricky Clunn just won a tournament at 74 years old, you know, just won one of the bass events, you know, at 74 years old. But 2 years ago, I come in first at Lake Fork. So, you know, you can always win a tournament because you got the knowledge, the know-how, and the win-to.
Why crappie?
When I was a young kid, my grandparents took me fishing. My grandmother, my granddad, he was a farmer and worked in the woods and stuff. But I'd go visit with my grandmother and she'd take me fishing. My dad took me fishing a little bit, but grandmother took me fishing. And I loved catching a lot, whether it was bluegill, crappie, whatever. So in high school, I caught a lot of crappie. You know, I went fishing a lot. I went after the bass a little bit, but it just really wasn't my take. You know, I didn't own a boat, just did it from the shore, and really got into the crappie. They intrigued me because they're finicky and tough to catch sometimes. But
well, I wouldn't know that based on your success.
Well, especially, man, we cook a lot of crappie. We eat a lot of crappie. I know folks up here probably think the walleye is probably the best tasting fish in the world, and it is a good fish for table fare. But them crappies down south, brother, I'm telling you, they taste the same up here too.
So you're not doing a lot of the competitive fishing tour or tournaments?
I do about 3 tournaments a year because I have so much demand, because I work with so many manufacturers, so many sponsors, working on new product, keeping it fresh, because I started the Wally Marshall series with Bass Pro Shops in 1997 till 2010, and then I hooked up with Lew's, and now I'm designing the same rods, same actions, but we have a lot to offer in rods and reels, fishing line, and lures now with Strike King, because Lew's Inc. bought Strike King, and so I was already designing all the crappie lures for Strike King.
So you've started in a very humble way. You won your first tournament, as you said, and now you founded the largest crappie fishing tournament in the world. Is that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah, this coming year, October 4, 5, 6, in Hot Springs, Arkansas, we're putting on a $100,000 crappie invitational, the Mr. Crappie Invitational at the Crappie Expo.
Tell me about that. What's the expo?
They're all tied together. Well, I'm forming or help forming a expo that's designed just for crappie fishing manufacturers, or people that have something to do with what crappie anglers use every day. You know, they use ice chests, they use all kinds of stuff, you know, to put their bait in, put their fish in, whatever, because we like to keep them, you know, so ice chests come in handy, especially in the summertime. A lot of people quit fishing for crappie in the summer because they say they get too mushy. When you jerk them out of that water and put them straight on that ice, oh, brother, I'm talking about they ready for the fillets, you know.
So,
but being, you know, with that many manufacturers and working on this Crappie Expo, and I'm going to be doing this show. We're going to be doing this show for the next 10 to 20, 50 years. I don't know. But finally, there is a show or an expo for the crappie angler and the manufacturer, because most crappie fishing manufacturers just go to industry shows. They don't get to meet the end user. This show right here at Indy is awesome because the end user gets to meet some of these manufacturers. I think it's really cool.
You know, you still fish a few tournaments, but that's not really what Mr. Crappie's known for. What was the first product? I've heard you talk about products. What was the first product that you designed?
Yeah, that goes back to many years ago. I designed a lure called Crappie Thunder. And Crappie Thunder is a solid body jig. It's kind of fat and kind of short, but it has 24 tentacles, and it kind of like comes out on a 90-degree angle behind the head, you know, behind the body. So it sticks out and it pulsates with the movement of the jig. And Crappie Thunder has probably been one of my most sold lures in the history of Mr. Crappie.
Share the story, how that name came.
The name, yeah. Well, I had this lure, and I was telling Jim Townsend, one of the fishing reps that rep Blakemore Lure Company, and I was telling Jim about my lure. And about that time, we was at Bass Pro Shop, and there was a big old storm, and a lightning bolt hit, and this loud thunder. And I said, he was asking me at the time, what are you going to name it? I said, Crappie Thunder. Ain't no wonder you wasn't using Crappie Thunder.
And that's still one of the best-selling crappie lures in the market.
Man, it's with Blakemore Lure Company, already rigged on a Roadrunner head, and also at Strike King, we sell it in bulk. So you can buy a 15-pack, and we got it about 17, 18 colors, and man, it's a crappie catching machine.
Where do you come up with the inspiration for all these new products?
In that 90,000 miles I'm putting on that truck.
A little good old-fashioned windshield time.
Just like a product, I don't have it here with me, I just designed a product that is going to be probably the most innovative product in fishing, not crappie fishing.
Wow, you hear it here.
In fishing, and I have one here at Indy at the show.
What is it?
It's called the Add-A-Hook. Look it up. It's called the Add-A-Hook by Bullet Weight Company.
I think you said you could put a hook on in 4 seconds.
Yeah, I can put it on. You can put it on your line, put it anywhere, move it around, put a double on there if you want to use 2 hooks. I mean, some states may have a 1 hook rule, but you know, you can make a crappie rig in 15 seconds when it takes 6 minutes to tie a crappie rig. And with the Add-A-Hook, you just wrap your line around one side, wrap your line on the other side, and bam, you got to stage it. And there's no knots, so you're not stressing your line out. We sold, it hit the market in January the 16th. We sold 100,000 units in 10 days. We sold out. That we flew over here, you know. The rest of it's on the boat, and I think it's almost here. I can't wait to sell some more Add-A-Hooks.
You just go to your mailbox and print money, don't you?
Oh, it's genius. I mean, the Add-A-Hook deal is, you're going to look at it, folks, and go, why didn't I think of that? I tell everybody, I said, well, I was working on the paper clip, and my attorney told me that the paper clip was already taken, and so we just did the Add-A-Hook. I wish I had one right here, but y'all caught me at an off moment.
Do you know how many products you've created?
Lord, no, there's not.
What's the one you're most proud of?
My fishing rods. I design crappie rods, several actions, several models.
Now, what makes this a crappie rod for those that may not know?
Well, this little rod right here is designed, I say medium light, and so it has a fast tip out here on the end of it, and this is called the speed shooter. This is what I use to shoot docks with.
Explain what that is, because that's cool stuff.
Because actually what I'm going to do is shoot this lure, the shad pole, that's one of the lures I designed. I can shoot this lure right here up under a boat dock anywhere from 45 to 50 feet just with one little flick. And so what you do is you grab your line with your trigger finger, and then you grab your lure by the head and you load it up like this right here.
Scott, don't take our cameraman out.
I'm not gonna hit the camera either. But anyway, you shoot it like a bow and arrow. If you'll notice this rod, the end of the rod has a fast tip. You see that?
Yep.
And plenty of backbone to get those fish coming. I like to use a longer rod, like a 6'6" or 7 foot, because you can, under those docks, most docks have pilings or stuff in the way, and so the fish is not running everywhere. You can get that fish out from under that dock with these powerful 7-foot rods.
So you talk about docks and shooting docks, and I've heard you say a lot of fishermen always go for structure, but structure is not the most important thing for a crop.
It's shade.
Yeah.
Shade is the #1 structure for all game fish, and docks produce shade. You know, it's just the darkest corners. What I call them is the coffin corner, way back up under them docks. And if I can get to that dark spot under that dock, you're going to catch them.
Have you done everything that you want to do yet?
No. I think I love crappie. It's the passion. I met with a lot of, talking about the Crappie Expo, I met with a lot of industry people at a trade show the other day, and I had a big round table of what people would like to see happen in the crappie world, especially with manufacturers. Where are we going? Where are we headed? What is the future? And the future is family first. Kids, grandma, grandpa, everybody can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
So you talk about family, and that's one of the things that I've recognized about the organization Crappie USA. They always do a great job of promoting families around fishing, and I think that's what makes crappie fishing so universal, is that you don't need to have that expensive boat. Like, you didn't start with a boat.
No, I didn't own a boat till the second year I started fishing tournaments. And that was just to get to the spot so I could get out and wade. And, you know, it's like that, you know.
Are there people that you haven't met or that you want to meet that you haven't? You're a legend. You were walking around here saying, you know, I'm just signing autographs, taking pictures, and I never get tired of that. Who are some of the people that you have left that you want to meet that you haven't met yet?
I'd like to meet Donald Trump. You know, I'm not political, but you got to respect your presidents. I don't care who the president is.
Have you met others?
I met other presidents. George Bush.
Is he a good crappie fisherman?
I met George Bush Jr., okay, in Texas at a fishing event. He was governor then, and he owned the Texas Rangers. Well, I was a baseball player when I was younger, went to college, played a little ball, and they was having the strike. Remember the baseball strike?
Yep.
And so I got to meet him in the VIP room, and I told George Bush, I'll catch for you for $50 a game. He said, what's your name? I may need you.
Is he a good crappie fisherman?
I don't know if he crappie fishes or not, but I know his dad loved to bass fish.
Yep.
Yeah, senior loved to.
So with all the things that you've done in the industry to create good products, as you're watching these new generations of fishermen come in, what do you want Mr. Crappie's legacy to be? How do you want to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered as the pioneer of crappie fishing. You know, that's a bold statement, but I have actually brought crappie products from a $8 cane pole to a $70 crappie rod, lures, you name it. Just the pioneer of crappie fishing, you know, that pioneered that road that I promote. I don't let up. I don't let off the foot pedal. I go in every door. I knock on every door that sells fishing tackle across the country. And hey, they may sell my products, they may not, but they'll sure know who I am when I leave there.
That's right.
Yeah.
So as you are wrapping up time here at the Indy Sports Show Live, I could ask you a million questions, but I oftentimes like to hear from your perspective. What haven't I asked you that you want these people and the people that are going to watch this to know about you or anything else? What haven't I asked that's important to you?
Well, we've talked about family. We've talked about the kids, which that's real important. Because I put on a tournament every year and give away about $20,000 for a kids event in Hugo, Oklahoma, the poorest county in the state, and I put on a $20,000 tournament there every year and give away lots of money, lots of prizes, and it's all about family. And of course, we went over that, but probably, hey, you ask about the legend part. I'm not a legend. I'm not really a legend.
Now, people have said you're the greatest crappie fisherman alive. That's legendary.
I fish not as much as I used to. And what was so cool last year, I was at the Pittman Creek Show over in Tennessee, and we was at Lake Douglas, and I took a dealer fishing, him and his wife. And I told him, I said, let's go down here and fish some of these brush piles I found yesterday. And there was about 9 boats in the area. And we pull up, but nobody's on my spot, or that spot. I pull up there and I throw out a buoy marker on it and turn right back around, and me and this lady were sitting in the double seats on the front, and we just started pulling crappie out left and right. And I heard this guy say over the next boat, he goes, well, I could do that too if I fished every day. And the lady next to me, she goes, she's from West Virginia, she goes, do you fish every day? I go, no, ma'am. I said, I just leave that perspective, you know, they just think.
That's right.
Just because you got the bowling shirt on and all of that, and you got the look and you do it, and your boat's all wrapped out with the Mr. Crappie deal. But that lady was so impressed of how I found those fish, because today with side imaging and all of that, you know, and I fished for Ranger boats since 1989. That's how long I've been with Ranger. The key to success if you want to do what Wally Marshall does, you got a long way to go. You got to put in a lot of time. You got to stick with sponsors that stick with you.
You've had some of your sponsors for over 30 years.
30 years, 32 years, Blakemore Lure Company. I've been with Ranger Boats since 1989. I've been with Ford Motor Company since 2003. And having that longevity and those relationships. There's a lot of guys that come to me out there on the tour, man, how do I do this? How do I get in your tournament? You know, it's just amazing.
Well, we thought we were just going to ask you real simple, how do you catch more crappie? And it's a little more difficult than that. Wally Marshall, the great, the legendary, truly a living legend in the fact that he's probably the best crappie fisherman alive and certainly has left a legacy. It's a great opportunity here at Indy Sports Show Live to have you here on the couch, bringing your products with you, sharing some great stories, and that's what this is all about. When we do Indy Sports Show Live, we hope that you have the opportunity to learn something, but also to get to know the people behind what you see and do on TV and cameras. Folks, we're going to bring an always and ever popular to the stage. We can't go wrong if we bring a puppy or a dog. So I think we're going to have the Indiana Hoosier Retrieving Club coming here shortly. We're here in the Travel Cafe all day today and tomorrow. We're in the Champions Pavilion. It's Indy Sports Show Live. Go to Facebook or YouTube for the Indianapolis Boat Sport and Travel Show. Tell your friends about it. Come out and see us and say hello. And we can't wait to have you come back and join us for another segment. I'm Brian Pointer, and I'm host of Indy Sports Show Live. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be back real soon.